Welcome to Two Idiots, One Podcast. This is Bailey.
And this must be Taylor then.
Before we start today, Taylor, and before we start today, listeners, I just want to take a second to tell everybody
that this is going to be major spoilers for Orphan First Kill, available now on Hulu with a Hulu subscription.
Yeah, that's not where I watched it. I watched it on Amazon Prime with a Paramount Plus subscription.
Oh, so you can watch it on Paramount Plus or Hulu, I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter because we're about to spoil the shit out of it. So we'll have a timestamp in the description for when we actually start the review if you do not want to hear this. You've been warned. In 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So before we start, Taylor, do you remember when we were in high school together? Like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
So we had you remember how our high school was set up with the little common area that kind of went down 2 stairs?
With the vending machines?
Yeah.
And the ping pong tables?
Yeah, it had 4 or 5 vending machines. It had a couple ping pong tables and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So do you remember the day when the coin machine that was there for the vending machines, because for some reason none of them accepted bills regularly, handed out gold dollars instead of quarters every time you put a 5 in?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was like the coolest thing ever.
So do you remember when the school found out and they started rounding everybody up who they suspected of using it?
Yes.
How much money did you make off of that? Because obviously you used it, but were you one of the people that got rounded up, or did you get away with it?
If I remember correctly, I think I got away with it because back in high school I was kind of a goody two-shoes, so they believed me when I said that I only used it one time and I turned in maybe 1% of the money that I had made off of it.
So how much would you wager you made? Like $40-$50?
Oh shit. Divide that by 2, carry the 1. I would say it's probably somewhere between $70 or $80.
Oh,
at the end of the day. I really, once I figured out you could do it, went ham on it.
Huh. That's pretty interesting.
What I mean, I'm kind of a genius when it comes to that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm assuming it would be interesting.
Well, that's not why it's interesting.
Okay, why is it interesting?
Because none of this ever happened. This whole premise is something that I just made up to prove a point.
What?
Yeah, and the point is, the premise of Orphan First Kill is so fucking silly, because if the mother and brother knew the whole time that Esther, the daughter, was dead, when the orphan showed up claiming to be her, they should have just been like, no, that's definitely not my kid. Let's do a DNA test right now. I can tell the difference. And the whole plot didn't need to happen.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on that one. That was pretty fucking stupid. So I guess, with that being said, that's kind of our summary, but I'll go to a quick summary of this movie if you don't know. This is the prequel to the 2009 film Orphan.
Yes.
This takes place in 2007, and if you have seen Orphan, then you know that this is the story before she got with the parents that she was with, where, she murders the entire family and then gets sent to an orphanage and then gets adopted. Yeah, that's basically the whole summary of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, which I just want to say beforehand, this isn't a bad movie. If you can in my opinion, if you can suspend your disbelief on the fact that the premise doesn't make sense, the acting wasn't too bad. The makeup that Isabel Furman had.
Okay, so before you get into that, since you said that it wasn't that bad of a movie, what would you give it? 1 to 5 stars.
I'd probably hook it up with a 2.5.
And why is that?
So I would give it a 2 or a 2.5 because I would say this movie is either right at or slightly below average. It's everything that you would expect from a movie like this. Some of the kills were cool. Some of them weren't. The overall principle was okay. I don't know. There's not a lot there.
No. I would give it a solid 0 out of 5 stars.
That's super critical. Why?
Because this movie, this piece of fucking garbage.
I mean, I think that's a bit of an extreme opinion, but continue.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, so David Coggeshall is who did the screenplay for this.
Yes.
And my boy William Brent Bell, who
was the
director. He's really done nothing. Doesn't matter though, because this movie, like what you said in the intro, kind of sums up why I don't like this movie amongst other things. But yeah, it's a 0 out of 5. I will say if you've seen Orphan, do not watch this film because you're basically watching the exact same movie again, but slightly different. It was like they took a reskin and made Orphan 1.5.
So I would argue that it would be Orphan 0.5 instead of 1.5 since this is a prequel.
Okay, I'm sorry. Orphan 0.5.
But beyond that, my major issue with this compared to the first one, because I agree that they're very similar, is I thought the first Orphan movie was awesome. Like, I watched it probably the day before I watched this, just in preparation.
Yeah, and I agree because like the first Orphan movie it's not like a great movie by any means.
No.
But the spoilers for Orphan if you haven't seen it, which I mean, I assume you would, but anyway, the fact that you know that you don't know that, she's actually not a little girl, that she's actually 30 or whatever, that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool twist, and it delivered it nicely, and it was, semi-believable. And then it was also, loosely based off of a true story. So all that together, yeah, I like it. Then there's this piece of garbage.
I mean, like I said, my major issue with this one is the twist made it to where it doesn't make sense at all because the whole premise of the movie wouldn't have happened because of the twist.
Well, so I'll argue and say that the only reason she did it was because she does say something in there about how he has been a completely different person. So if I was to go out here on a limb and say because of plot devices, I think that the good old-fashioned Julia Stiles, who is great, kind of what sold me on this one. Isabella Fuhrman's okay.
No, dude. So,
but Julia Stiles.
I disagree. I think Isabella Fuhrman, who played Esther, did amazing. And the reason I say that is because she's also was in the first Orphan.
Yeah.
So in the first Orphan, she was 12 or something?
10.
10?
Because it came out in 2009. They started filming in 2007. So yeah, she would have been 10.
Okay.
Because her and I are the same age.
Right. So for her to have been able to in that movie portray it was a child portraying an adult portraying a child.
Yeah, that's like I'm the dude, just playing the dude disguised as another dude.
And she did really well in that. And in this, it's her playing a child that's playing an adult that's pretending to be a child. And I think she just did it really well. Like the scenes where she was trying to act like a child, I think she did pretty well.
Okay, so I'm going to disagree with you completely on that one. My biggest problem with this is that Hunger Games ended and it seemed like she needed money. Because you can tell that the other actors and actresses are all wearing 6-inch lifts in order to make it to where, she looks smaller.
Yeah.
Because she's not. Because she's actually normal fucking size.
She's 5'4".
Yeah, normal size.
I mean, that's fair.
That's normal size. But anyway, on top of that, there was an exact shot for shot scene of her banging on the walls and shit like she did in the first movie. And I was like, okay, but it didn't seem like she had that childlike anger anymore because obviously she wasn't a kid, so she didn't have those temper tantrums, and that was what ruined it for me. It was an adult. This was literally an adult trying to play a child, where in the first movie it was a child playing an adult, like you said, playing a child, so it was more believable. Kind of lost it for me on this one.
See, I don't know. I thought her acting was really good. And I thought the makeup to make her look young was also really well done.
I mean, yeah, it was. You can kind of tell she's older, though.
Yeah, no, you can definitely tell. You can tell, but it's still really well done.
No, and I agree. That might be the only good thing I'll give this, except for Julia Stiles. Give it to Julia Stiles. But no, the twist that came out of nowhere was stupid.
Well, and even the way they tried to justify it, because the way that Julia Stiles' character tried to justify it is that Rossif Sutherland, or Alan, the husband,
yeah,
you said that his personality completely changed when Esther returned. But even then, if it was just an immediate, oh, she's back, but she could have been oh, I don't think that's our kid, and negated the whole thing because he wasn't immediately there. You know what I mean? Right,
but I think that what she did, it was for a pure greed aspect because he started painting again, which was their main source of income. The reason they had the big mansion and all that was because he was a very successful painter. Child disappears. he suddenly becomes depressed, doesn't know about the missing child, and on top of that, can't paint the way that he used to. Now the child's back, and he's like, "Oh, you paint too? You're painting with your dad." Boom! All of a sudden, bringing out these beautiful masterpieces, and according to her, he fucks her better in bed. So I'm like, okay, that explains a lot.
See, I still don't think so, because in my mind, especially with because what actually happened to Esther was the mother and brother killed her.
Whoa. That's not what happened.
The brother accidentally killed her and the mother covered it up.
Yeah. Can't be blaming her for that shit. It was all him.
I mean, regardless. So because of that, she knew that her daughter was dead.
Right, they both did.
So immediately when this Esther showed up, this girl pretending to be her showed up, she should have been like, "Oh wait, I don't know if this is my kid. Something seems off. We should do a DNA test or something."
Well, she does say the things are off because she has an accent now and goes by a different name.
Goes by a different name.
I'm pretty confident she was Esther in the first movie too.
She was Esther in the first movie.
Yeah.
The first movie takes place after this.
Oh yeah, it does. So that's where she got that name. But no.
Yes.
She just goes by her name though, right?
No, her actual name is like Liana.
Oh yeah, it is. But she was being called Esther the whole time. Okay, that just again, same fucking movie. Also, I do want to talk about this because I thought that it was very interesting. This is called Orphan First Kill, okay? But it's not.
No.
Because in the opening scene, like 5 fucking minutes into the movie, you see pictures of where she's slaughtered a family.
Yeah.
And that's why she's in the mental institution.
Uh-huh.
So how is it the first kill?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get that. This is just literally Orphan second kill.
So the naming convention for this was originally going to be just called Esther.
That would have been fine.
Yeah.
Would have been okay.
I don't know why they decided to go with the name change.
Well, I don't know why they needed to make this movie because, in my opinion, the original Orphan doesn't need a prequel or a sequel, and this movie isn't really a prequel, in my opinion, because there's so many loose things that connect them. Like, it's very loosely connected to the first movie.
And it retcons part of the first movie.
It retcons part of the first movie. It is loosely related to the first movie. It is basically a remake. So I'm going to compare, you have Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, right?
Uh-huh.
Same movie, but different. Like Evil Dead 2 was a remake, but also a sequel at the same time, which we've explained in that episode if you want to go back and listen to that one. Haha.
Yeah.
Didn't think I was going to do that, did you? It's called Callback, bitch. Anyway, he, made a movie that was a remake, but a prequel or a sequel, and it was really good sometimes in some aspects. Like, there are 2 different movies, fundamentally speaking, but, there are times where I go, yeah, Evil Dead 2 is better than Evil Dead. Can't say the same about this one. Orphan is better than Orphan First Kill, and Orphan First Kill is just the reskinned version of Orphan with some slight changes to it, because they're basically ripping you off. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, so was there anything about this movie that you actually liked other than Julia Stiles?
The scene where the fencing fucker dies. And yeah, that was kind of it. I really didn't like how when the house was burning down at the end, she went all like Michael Myers like and walked out of it.
I didn't like that scene at all because anyone who's ever been in a house fire or any fire at all really knows that the house would have gone up faster than that.
The house would have gone up faster. She was literally on the roof.
Yeah, and she was walking like it wasn't even hot, where she would be like sweating profusely when she was walking through the fire like that.
And I'm not like a scientist or anything, but heat rises.
Yeah, so the roof would have probably collapsed with them standing on it. Or maybe, I don't know about that. I'm not that kind of doctor.
Oh, can you hear the bugs?
I can very, very loudly hear them.
Oh, man, that's going to be weird. I apologize for anybody that can hear that.
Yeah, we might be able to take it out in post.
Hopefully. If not, it's summertime. Deal with it.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like that didn't make sense. None of the movie. I mean, it was really, really weird how the dad was like touching her face or something, and then the teeth fell out, and he goes, "You're fucking weird looking," and then she pushes him off.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, it's weird to me that like at that point he was still under the impression that it was his daughter.
Yeah, like how do you not know? Are you stupid? Is that why you're a painter?
Well, I mean, that's fucked up. But no, like The fact that moments before he sees his wife die and the last thing his wife says to you is, hey, this isn't our kid. I don't know. I feel like if I had a wife and an alleged child and my wife was saying, oh, this isn't actually the kid, and the kid had been missing for 4 years, I would probably believe her. And he was just like, oh, I'm going to save this kid that may not be my kid instead.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, except for plot.
Well, I mean,
purposes.
That's the whole reason why they took her in the first place. Why the mom and brother was like, oh yeah, we can bring in this girl who's clearly not who she says she is.
Now, I wrote down the brother's name because I did not like this dude.
Gunner is Gunner.
Yeah, Gunner is the
character
but I was going to say Matthew Finlan. Okay. I did not like the stereotypical rich kid asshole.
I mean, that's fair.
Because that's what that was.
For sure. I mean, the stereotypical rich kid asshole who doesn't feel like there are consequences for his actions.
Oh, I'm a fencing champion. I'm the best in the world. So when I'm trying to murder this girl, I'm going to take not even a sword. It was like half a foot. It was like a toothpick.
Well, so when he died, like, I was just like, yeah, that's kind of what happens, because he was like acting like Esther had no power and couldn't do anything, when in reality she's already proven herself to be more than competent at that point.
She's like he even says, we're dealing with a psychopath.
Yeah.
And then underestimates her to the point where she kills him in probably the dumbest way possible, because she comes out and goes, oh, do you think that you'll let me live? And he goes, yeah, absolutely not. And then she goes, yeah, me either, and shoots him with a crossbow.
Yeah.
Are you stupid?
100%.
Now, I also did not like any of the fight scenes between her and Julia Stiles.
No, I didn't. The fact of the matter is, even if she is a grown-ass woman, being that small, there's going to be a clear power differential.
Right.
So it wouldn't have been as competitive as it was made to be.
No, it wouldn't have, and it wouldn't be, no, it wouldn't be a challenge at all.
I mean, I wouldn't say it wouldn't be a challenge at all, because I'm sorry if anyone heard that, because I've had like my little brother and stuff who's like 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty powerful for a 10 or 11-year-old. I could still take him, but there would be resistance.
I mean, not as much resistance as what she was putting up.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Especially if it was, hey, I'm going to kill you. Like, if it was just playful, then yeah. But if it was life or death, there would have been significantly less resistance.
Yeah, because she was like, Undertaker choke slamming her everywhere.
Yeah.
And being like, this is your last ride. Like, the WWE references, and didn't think we were going to go there, but we did. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it should have been made. And the thing is I've given low scores to other movies.
It's because you're a hater.
Well, no, but I've also given them alternate scores where I can see where somebody would like it,
Yeah.
And I can go, okay, I can respect that. I can respect what it's done.
Yeah.
Can't do that with this movie at all. I can't find any reason to give it anything other than a 0, which I think a 0 is being too forgiving. So I'm gonna give it a -5.
That's really cold.
I mean, I really think that it was just a reskin of the original Orphan with slight changes that were kind of shitty.
So see, the thing is, there are things about this movie that I think people would like. Even us, if you took out the fact that if we were able to suspend our disbelief on the shitty ending, or not even the shitty ending, because I thought the ending was pretty good, but the shitty twist. Well, so, okay, let's talk about the ending.
Okay,
because I think the ending was good. So other than her walking out of the house that was on fire like it was nothing, the fact that she kills the brother and then kills the mom and the dad by pushing them off the roof, essentially, or making them fall or allowing them to fall. The brother was stabbed, so it was an obvious murder, but because his body likely burns up and it's, could be argued that he died in the fire, an autopsy is likely not to be performed. And the other two fell off the roof, which, doesn't necessarily make sense, because if the house was on fire, you would leave the house instead of fleeing to the roof. But for some reason, say they decided to go to the roof instead of fleeing and fell off. Her character surviving, there are no loose ends. Like, she can go to an orphanage and the next movie can just happen. So that's why I thought the ending was good, because it does make it where the next ending is very, very possible.
I mean, yeah, but now it opens it up for other things. They can do more movies.
No, they can't.
Yeah, they can.
I mean, so they can do more movies, but they can't do more movies unless they retcon more of the original. Because this movie already retconned some of the original in regards to her name and everything. Because in the original, she was an orphan from Russia who got adopted by a family in the United States. And then that family died in a house fire. And she went back to the adoption agency and got adopted by the family we see in the original movie. And the way this retconned it is she was an orphan in Russia, quote unquote, an orphan in Russia, that was kidnapped and brought to Russia that way, and then got found by her actual family in the US, or found her actual family in the US, and came home, and then they all died in a house fire. So the retcon was whether or not she was originally an orphan in Russia or not.
Okay, so which one do you like?
I think the original is way better.
I think so too, because I think they tried too hard with this one, being like, oh, you know, my child was abducted and that's why they were in Russia. Like, why couldn't she just, I don't know, become an orphan or whatever?
Well, had they made her an orphan and them, like, lost their daughter, like their daughter was murdered by their son or something, and then them deciding to adopt her and, you know, getting her that way, to me, that would have made more sense.
Yeah, because she looks I mean, you can argue that she looks like her or whatever, but I could see them going, okay, well, you know, our son killed our daughter. We really miss our daughter. You look like our daughter.
And you're around the same age she would be.
So why not adopt you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fine. Again, would have been like the original, but still.
Yeah, no, it would have been super close to the original because that's basically what happened in the original.
Right.
Not exactly, but
close enough. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what did you like about it? Because I've just sit here and shit on it.
So I thought the ending was pretty good. Like I said, I thought the acting was all right. I thought the makeup to make Esther's character look younger and actually look like a child was done pretty well. Because like you said, you can tell that she's an adult, but it was pretty convincing, and it was convincing without the use of CGI, which I think is impressive.
Right.
And then other than that, like the psychological the tension was done really well in this movie. Like the tension for like Hero is the name of the actor, but I can't remember the detective.
Uh-huh.
Like his character, the tension that he created, and like his suspicion when he shows up to the dinner scene. Like I thought all of that was done really, really well. And him commenting on her not filling up her glass. I thought the tension was built really well in this movie. Granted, I think the payout was garbage because the premise doesn't make sense because the twist is dumb. If you can suspend your disbelief, I think this is a solid movie. Not a great movie, memorable, definitely good.
Well, and I think that, you know, a lot of people argue, like, don't you just enjoy movies? And like, yeah, I just enjoy movies, but this would have been better if it had have been like, I don't know, a supernatural movie or something. I don't know. You're telling me that the premise of like the, you know, girl or whatever, and them not knowing that this wasn't really their daughter or whatever, and was actually a 40-year-old woman, blah blah blah. Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. But I don't know. Just kind of like stuff like that. I mean, I couldn't really suspend my disbelief in this one. Like, I do enjoy movies, but you have to set them up, because if you take Nightmare on Elm Street, for instance, I know we were talking about Robert Englund before this. If you take Nightmare on Elm Street and don't suspend your disbelief, then the movie's fucking stupid.
Right.
It's like one of the most garbage things ever.
Well, pretty much all like slashers or supernatural movies, that all are garbage if you can't suspend your disbelief.
Right, but you go into it knowing that it is a slasher, that it's a supernatural movie or whatever, so you already automatically suspend your disbelief a little bit there. You don't watch Poltergeist and go, oh, there's no way that's real. You know what you're getting into. And when you watch the first Orphan, you know what you're getting into. You watch the second Orphan First Kill, you think you know what you're getting into, and then you get hit in the dick.
I mean, I would argue that if somehow you miss the scene where they explain that they already killed her daughter, or that their daughter was dead, that it could still be a good movie. I think that if you slept through that scene, or if you had to pee really bad, or if you ran out of popcorn, and because it's still in theaters, But if you ran out of popcorn and were to like run and get more popcorn during that scene, I think that you'd come back and be like, oh, that was a good ass movie. I think that if they cut that scene out, like if the director does a cut where he doesn't include that and just completely like negates that whole principle, and they find out a different way that she's not actually their daughter, I think that this movie is completely salvageable.
See, I disagree on that one. You would have to really rewrite the entire movie, and I think that this movie could have been better if it would have picked up where the original ended.
The original ended with her dying, did it not?
I mean,
with Esther's character dying, I'm pretty confident. I would have to like I said, I rewatched it like the day before I watched this, and I'm pretty sure it ends with her dying.
Oh yeah, she drowns in a lake.
Yeah,
I remember that. Okay, so this is funny. According to the original, oh yeah, because she kicks her in the fucking face.
Yeah,
that's what it was. That was funny. That was funny as shit. But yeah, I could have picked up after that and like, you know, what the mom was doing. Could have focused on her. So according to the official Orphan fandom wiki, character was Esther. Location, drowned dead in a lake. Her birth was February 25th, 1997. Her death was 2009, age 33.
So what you're telling me is whoever wrote the wiki didn't know math?
No, obviously doesn't know math because that's not how that works.
That's fair.
In 2009, she would not have been 33. Born in 1997. But yeah, I had forgotten about that. I didn't watch the first one before this.
That's fair. Do you have anything else for the movie?
Oh no, do you want to jump into the Bailey's Babbles?
So what do you want to do for Bailey's Babbles / Taylor Talk?
Okay, so for Taylor Talk, I have a question for you.
Okay, what do you got for me today, Taylor?
So I was talking to somebody the other day.
Okay.
So obviously I like philosophy. I don't know why.
Is it because you're a philosopher stone?
No, I'm a philosopher stoned. That would have been funny. You're trying to be a comedian and you can't make good jokes. Come on.
No, I know. I'm bad.
That was easy.
Yeah.
No, I was talking to him and talking about life in general, right?
All right.
So I know that there's different schools of thought on life. And I guess my question to you is, you know, what school of thought do you believe in that helps you in your daily life?
What do you mean?
Okay, so let me give you an example. I struggled very heavily with depression and anxiety. Like I was a basket case, pretty much.
Okay.
I don't know if you can say that term, but I can't because I'm describing myself. But I was like a gigantic ball of anxiety, scared to do things, didn't really want to take chances. And then I found nihilism, and it kind of just made me go, fuck it, who cares? Right?
Yeah.
And with that being said, you know, I just started really, obviously there's not everything that I like about nihilism, but I would consider myself a nihilist. For the most part, you know, nothing matters, do whatever, who cares?
So, I don't know how familiar you are with the Big Lebowski or dudism, but...
So is that like actually, like do you actually believe in dudism?
I think it's... I don't believe in it as a religion, but as like a set of philosophical principles for sure.
So what would be the philosophical principles behind dudism?
So, I mean, it's really hard to like say specifically, but the major one is just like, you know, abide, do what you do, let others do what they do, don't fuck with their doing what they do, and, you know, just basically do what feels good, don't hurt other people, you know, love thy neighbor, respect the rug.
Okay, I can kind of get behind that, I guess.
But, I mean, I don't know. For me, I don't have, like, a specific philosophy that I follow. For me, I just look at every day as, like, another day where I got to do the thing, and the thing varies based on whatever I need to do that day. And in the event that I have nothing going on, I do nothing other than what feels good.
So does it matter for you, though?
What do you? I mean,
Like-
define matter.
Does life matter?
I mean, lives matter, but
No, not lives, like just life in general. Because I mean, we can get into a whole discussion about, should you kill people, blah blah blah. But that's not what we're talking about. It's like, is the human existence in life, what we do every day, does it actually matter, or is it just something that we've constructed to make ourselves feel better and to give like a justification as to why we're doing it?
I mean, it depends on what scale you're looking at. Because if you're looking at an individual scale, like from my perspective regarding my reality, absolutely it matters. But if you look at it from like the more objective you become with that question, the less I think it matters. Like from a super subjective perspective, absolutely, it matters. But I think that once you get a more wider scope and start looking at it from a higher perspective or a larger perspective, like a universal perspective, I think that most life and existence in general, in the concept of humans, is kind of irrelevant because of how big the universe is. Not even just our galaxy, but like everything is so much that it would be very, very pretentious of us to think that we have any universal significance, if that's what you're asking. I'm not sure what you're asking. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just want to like know what you feel on it, because like when people ask me, how was your day? Which is a simple question, right?
Yeah.
I tell them it was neither good nor bad. Like, I don't put significance on the day.
Yeah, that's because you want attention by having a unique answer.
No, fuck you. No, it's not that. It's because, and a lot of people look at me weird when I say it, and they're like, well, how do you do that? And it's just, I mean, why do I need to give significance to the events that happened in my day? Because when I say that my day was good, what I am saying is, and I'm giving, power to something that's not me, and I don't like that, but I'm basically saying all of these events need to happen, or a majority of these events need to happen for me to have a good day. And if I label it bad, I need to say that a majority of these things need to happen for me to be considered to have a bad day. And if they don't, then it must be a good day. And I just think that's stupid. What if it's just a day? What if it's a normal day?
I think that when most people ask you how your day is, they're just trying to make conversation. Like, I don't think they actually, or not even make conversation, they're trying to be polite. I don't think they actually care.
Which I don't think they actually care either, but it's just that, I believe you can rewire your brain to think about things differently. And when you take a step back and think about things differently, it really changes your perspective and has you deal with stuff. Like take anxiety, for instance, right? I was really struggling with that, and then I realized like it doesn't matter. Anxiety is just a human emotion that basically keeps you from dying. Your ancestors had anxiety about doing stuff, so that way they wouldn't try to, fuck a saber-toothed tiger. Or, they have anxiety and fears in order to, not live up way, way, way in the trees, because predators would hunt them on the ground or whatever. So they didn't go too high up, because the higher up they went, if they fell in the middle of the night, then they would just die. So it's that, natural instinct that we have. And anxiety is natural. It keeps us alive and causes us to worry about things. Like, I get it. If you have a gut feeling or anxiety about eating something that may or may not be poisonous, you just don't do it. But at the same time, I also believe that we blow it up into proportions that are larger than they need to be, because we put a label on it and been like, boom, anxiety is a bad thing, which the media kind of, construed. I guess the whole thing was basically life is meaningless and labels aren't real. Stop labeling shit.
I mean, that's an interesting perspective, and you're definitely not wrong for having it, but I don't know how much I agree.
Well, and like that's fine. I mean, I know when I talk about opinions and stuff like that, or my views on things, that I'm in a very small category of people that think that way. And I'm not saying that everybody's right. I'm not saying that anybody's wrong.
Right. You're just saying that different people have different perspectives. That's definitely understandable.
Yeah, like my views don't have anything to do with anybody but me.
Right.
And people tell me, well, why do you believe this? Like, I just do. It's the thing that works for me that causes me to, when I'm having like an anxiety attack, be like, oh, this is stupid. This isn't what this is. I'm just a little worried right now. This is normal. Moving on with my life. Do the thing. Fuck it. Who cares?
That's fair.
But I don't know. Like, what do you contribute? How do you get through your day? I guess.
I mean, I don't know. I basically said it. I just do what I got to do.
Which would be like a nihilistic thing, it's just a day. Do what you need to do.
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it's nihilism because, like I said, on an individual level, like, I think my life matters. Even if the mattering is just like, it matters that I feed the dogs or that I go out and play fetch with the dogs. Like,
well, it's not your life, that's your actions.
Right, but your action or your life is just a series of your actions compiled together to make one movement of whatever,
Right.
So like all life is a series of actions.
Yeah, until you die, until you stop moving.
Yeah, until you stop actioning.
Have I ever told you my my casino analogy for life?
I don't think so.
So when you're born, you are admitted into the casino of life, right?
Okay.
And when you're in this casino, you try your hand at a bunch of different games until you finally find the game that you're good at. And while you're going around, you are collecting chips for prizes. And then you're using those chips at other games in order to get a bigger payout. And eventually, you find a game that you're really good at, so you sit down and only play that game. So I'll use poker as an example. You're really good at poker. You're only sitting down. You're playing poker. And eventually what's going to happen is sometime in your time at the casino, the security guard is going to walk over and he's going to tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, man, it's time for you to leave. And you're going to be like, well, I needed to cash out. And he goes, no, you can't cash out. You got to leave now. And what happens is all of your chips that you have accumulated get pushed back into the center of the table and redistributed to everybody else at the table once somebody has won, right? They just go back into the pot. And then you exit the casino. Nobody remembers you. All of your shit is gone and redistributed. So, like, why does it matter?
That's a super bleak outlook, and I disagree.
Well, I mean, so people talk about wanting houses, right? They talk about owning houses and they're so excited to own a house. What about the person before you that thought the same thing, and the person before them and the person before them? You don't think about those people, but you're living in their house and they thought the same thing that you did. And then once you die, your house goes up on the market and nobody gives a shit anymore.
I mean, so I disagree because, like, your family remembers you. People who you've touched in your life remember you. If you've, created some great work, or in our case a podcast, like 100 years from now, once we're like long dead and forgotten by most of our like close friends because they'll be dead too, or whatever, and we're someone's great grandparent or great uncle or whatever, we'll still be remembered or rememberable because someone will be like, oh, do you remember when your Uncle Taylor or your Grandpa Taylor or your Uncle Bailey or Grandpa Bailey was working on that podcast? We can pull it up now on, the Spotify archives and listen to their thoughts, 100 years ago or 200 years ago.
Which,
in the event society hasn't collapsed. So
right.
To say that, once you die, you're forgotten, everything's redistributed, to me seems unnecessarily bleak. Like, it doesn't seem realistically bleak.
But am I wrong, though? Because all your shit does get distributed. It goes to other people. And then most of the time, those people will take your shit and go, oh, grandma gave me $1,000 or whatever. And then, gave Billy over here 70,000. And then they start comparing that, right?
I mean, so like I said, you're looking at it from like a really materialistic view. I don't know. I don't think it's like that necessarily, because I have family members who have passed who I still remember, frequently and fondly.
Okay, so let me use that. Do you remember your great grandpa?
No, I never met him. He died before I was born.
Okay. Do you hear stories about him?
I did when I was little.
What about now?
Well, no, because I'm not really around those people anymore. The people who told me the stories, I don't spend as much time with.
Right, which means that once you die, then it'll stop, right? Because if you don't say anything about your great grandpa to anybody, then the people that talked about your great grandpa when they die, if they didn't talk about it to anybody else, if it was just you, the legacy of your great grandfather dies with you.
Well, I mean, I recognize what you're saying. I just don't think it's as finite as that. Like, even if we don't have direct memories, I'm sure there are traditions in our family, or like the way we talk to each other, the way we interact, or like the way my grandpa, cooks whatever meal or something that he taught me how to cook, and it's just an indirect thing that I don't recognize that potentially came from my great grandpa. You know what I mean?
So you're talking about indirectly talking about him through, passing on recipes or whatever, for instance.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a recipe. It can be...
We'll just use that as like an example, though.
Or even values within a family.
Okay, like the value of a hard work ethic that was taught to your grandpa by your great grandpa, which was taught to your dad by your grandpa, which was taught to you.
I mean, not necessarily that direct, but yeah, exactly. Stuff like that.
Okay.
Like, I think the thought that someone can only be remembered in like such a specific way is incorrect, because there are a lot of different ways to reside in memory, even if it's not known that that's what it is.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I respect that. I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
This was a good one.
Is there anything else you got today, Mr. Taylor?
No, that was it. So I'm good if you're good.
I am good. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Two Idiots, One Podcast. I'm Bailey. Do you have anything else? I'm sorry.
No, I was fixing to say I'm Taylor, and then you were asking like if I had anything else. Are you okay?
Well, I didn't know if you wanted to plug like the Facebook group or any of that. It's all in the description.
Wait, our Facebook group, our Instagram, Twitter, and soon to be TikTok, that'll be in the link down below.
I mean, not necessarily the TikTok, but the rest of it, yes, for sure.
Now, we are working on TikTok, but because I don't understand TikTok and how to use it, I'm trying to find somebody that can show me how to make good TikToks.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you all for listening. If you made it this far, leave a comment down below on our YouTube channel.
We don't have a YouTube channel.
Oh, fuck. We need to get a YouTube channel.
But yeah, if you have any recommendations or anything, feel free to join one of our groups and comment there and let us know. Or if you want to reach out and have any discussions about any topics we discussed, or if you want to argue with us over the score we gave the movie, you can find us on various different platforms.
And seriously, if you want to reach out to us, we are, I think, nice people. We will respond, and if you want to have a discussion or about it, go ahead, tell us why we're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. But this has been Bailey.
This has been Taylor.
And this has been Two Idiots, One Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.